So if I just show you what's going on here, it's a very minimalist drum recording setup, only three microphones. As a mono overhead, I've got a Rode NT2A, which is just covering the top of the kit, and I've got a Shure 7 SMB underneath the snare drum. I've decided not to record the kick because often when I record the kick drum I just end up replacing it with some kind of sampled or some kind of electronically produced kick drum. And over here I've got my Tascam DR05 acting as a room mic just for extra ambience. So essentially what I'm doing is recording a load of drum breaks to later sample and process and manipulate and use in my songs, so that I kind of have my own drum samples rather than sampling from other records. Not that there's anything wrong with doing that. I'm using my phone to mute the snare, and I'm using my wallet to mute the floor tom, and I've got some drumsticks which I just had to pay £8 for because I forgot mine. Starting to think it's a bit too bright, and it's too hot for my liking. Trying to put the fan on. Yeah, it's working a little bit, but not properly. I think all the levels are set up nicely. Try and get some nice recording now. I'm hoping there's not going to be too much of that fan on my recordings. Putting you way up in the corner. Oh no, that's not going to work. Okay, now it's just going to slide. Need a bit of blue tack or something. The vibration of the drums might make my camera fall on the floor, so prepare for that. So I'm recording the drums for another song now, and I've changed things up slightly. I've got the Rode microphone up in the corner, kind of acting as a room microphone, and I've got it recording kind of out into the room, but also so it's recording this corner here, so I get some reflection of the room, which should sound interesting. And I've also got the Shure microphone recording the side of the snare now, just for a slightly different sound. And I'm also using my ambient mic as well over here. Hi, so I'm going to show you a bit of post-production. This is one of the sessions from that particular day. I've got what was the overhead microphone ever so slightly panned to the right and the SM7 being completely panned to the left, which was the one that was under the snare. So I think I've gotten quite an interesting sound out of this. I've got quite a few separate drum breaks here. So this is just so that I have something pretty cool just to start out with before I've even incorporated it into one of my productions. So on the overhead microphone, I'm using the Waves J37, which is a tape emulator plugin. This essentially recreates the sound of one of the tape machines at Abbey Road, and you can add a lot of wobble and flutter and saturation to the sound. I love to use the saturation feature on here on drums to get a more kind of crispy sound out of it, and just make it sound a little bit more tapey just generally. I'm also using this free analog emulation plugin. This is Tuba by Analog Obsession, and it's like a analog channel strip, and you can basically just muck around with it until you get something that sounds interesting and that sort of complements your original source and creates something ultimately a bit more interesting. You don't even necessarily need to massively know what you're doing with it. You just sort of throw it on what you've already got going and see if you can enhance it with something like this. And I've also just got a sort of general overdrive on there just to take off a little bit of the top end that I didn't want and just sort of boost it a bit and give it a bit of sort of body to the sound, sort of enhance, sort of make it sound a bit thicker and just give it quite a bit of body. And I've got a very similar channel strip going here. I've boosted the EQs here a little bit. I've also got my tuba plugin, probably with quite different settings on it for my snare bottom microphone. Again, the J37, this gets used on pretty much all my drum sounds, as well as pianos and guitars and God knows what else. And then more overdrive. So I will play you a few examples of this, and obviously, you know, it might not completely sound great just over YouTube, but you'll get a fair idea for the sort of sound that I was able to capture. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Bye.